Hey, what's up guys, Machine King here, and welcome to the next deck profile. In today's video, I will be showing you my Dark Magician deck. Now, let me preface this straight up, this is more of a character deck. You know, it is not competitive at all. It has some of the more competitively viable stuff, but it is certainly not to make it competitive. Dark Magician isn't in the meta. Foremost, it is not in the meta at all. But this deck is one of my pride and joys. I have upgraded this deck countless and numerous amounts of times. It is by far if there's ever is a deck that has ever described my journey through Yu-Gi-Oh, it is my Dark Magician deck. It is one of the oldest decks I have. It originally started out as a Yu-Gi deck from the legendary Duelist Gold box with the Egyptian God cards. Then it was completely destroyed down until it only had a few of the original cards. And it was rebuilt into a pure Dark Magician deck, and over the past few formats, I have collected and have been able to upgrade this into the version I have at this moment today. With all that out of the way, let us begin with the Dark Magician archetypal monsters. So, we start out with, of course, 3 copies of Dark Magician. Now, as you can see here, I am a artwork snob. I have 3 different artworks, of course, and you'll notice that in a lot of my decks that have different artworks and stuff like that. I am an artwork snob. I love having different artworks of the same card in the deck. So I have my Dark-Sided Dimensions, my Legendary Duelist, and of course this one, my favorite. So next up, we have the Dark Magician Girl. You only want to run one copy of this. You know, it's for a couple of the fusions, couple of effects, but you don't want to run too many to end up bricking at your hand. This deck is very brickable very easily. So, of course, of the normal, Dark Magician Girl gains 200 attack points. Gains 300 attack points for every Dark Magician or Magician of Black Chaos in the grave. Next, we have our Magician's Rod. Great searcher. You know, it allows you to search any Dark Magician spell or trap. You know, you'll use that with a combination of Dark Magical Circle. It is a great starter, of course. And of course, you got your 3 copies of Magician Souls. Now, Magician Souls is probably one of the best, is the best starter in the deck. It has the ability to not only allow you to summon your Dark Magician immediately, it allows you to summon your Dark Magician immediately by discarding itself. Alright, so here's what the card says. I can send, if this card is in your hand, I can send 1 level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from my deck to my graveyard, then activate one of these effects. I can either A, special summon this card, or B, the most commonly used effect for this one is its second effect, which allows me to send this card to the graveyard. Then I can special summon 1 Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from the graveyard. So whichever monster you chose to send, either be your Dark Magician Girl or your Dark Magicians. Whether it be your Dark Magician Girl or Dark Magicians, it will allow you to summon them from the graveyard. So great setup. It has some other effects, but the most important effect is the summoning of the Dark Magician from the graveyard. And then, of course, you got your Timaeus the United Dragon, which allows you to, this is mostly used to get stuff like your Dark Magician, your Dragon Knights, or your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which I will go over later. Of course, you got your Paladin Oracle Mahad, You know, if you draw this by any other means but normal drawing, you get to immediately special summon him. You know, if you draw him even by normal means, actually. I missaid it. I misspoke. So, if you draw this card, you get to immediately summon him. Magikuriboh, Kuriboh version of, it's the Dark Magician version of Kuriboh. Quick effect, you know, you can send this card from your deck, from your hand to the grave, and special summon one Dark Magician. Got your Apprentice Illusion Magician, easy summon, you know. You can special summon this card from your hand by discarding one card. If this card is normal special summon, you can add one Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. You know, great easy way to get a body on the field, and a great searcher for Dark Magician. And then, of course, the best searcher in the best monster searcher is, of course, the Ritual Monster Illusion of Chaos. By revealing this card, you could grab one monster that specifically says Dark Magician, and then place one card at the top of your deck, usually in and of you usually do itself. And that's your archetypal monster lineup. Fairly simple, fairly standard. You know, it's one of those things that you don't really want to change up. Now, you know, if you wanted to go for a little bit more competitive version, you know, you would probably want to run 2 Dark Magicians and try to bolster up some of the more meta-relevant cards. But, like I said, this is a more character-based deck. Not that Dark Magician is meta in the first place, because it's not. Let's get one thing straight, it's not meta. But if you did want to make it a little bit more competitive, you would want to streamline a lot of these cards, take some of the ratios down and mix with the ratios. But for what I like to do with this deck, this is what it seems to work best for me. Let me get all packed up here, and then we'll move on to the non-archetypal monsters, which won't take long because there are only 2. Alright, so for non-archetypal monsters, you have 2. So, of course, you have your Red Eyes Black Dragon. This one is mostly used to facilitate the full effect of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. I'll go over that later when we actually get to the extra, to the extra deck. And then, of course, you got the Dark Hexsteel Fusion. Great for fusion substitute. You know, you can substitute this for any fusion material monster, but the other fusion material must be correct. You could tribute the fusion summon monster in the field, including this face-up card. Special summon one corresponding dark fusion monster from your extra deck. So, great fusion material substitute. Works great for the Dark Magician deck, and the other effect isn't all too bad either. Next up, we have the archetypal spell and trap support. So here we have all of these spell and trap cards that specifically mention Dark Magician in the card text. So first up, we got your Secrets of Dark Magic. This is your ritual/fusion spell card. This is your archetypal fusion or ritual spell card. Mostly I do fusion because that's the basis of the deck. This deck is a fusion and XZ based deck. So 3 copies of these. It is probably the best way to get your more boss monsters out on the field. And then, of course, 3 of the Dark Magical Circle. Excavate the top 3 cards of your deck. And then you can add 1 spell or trap that specifically mentions Dark Magician to your hand. And then put the rest of the cards, put the cards back in whichever order you choose. Great for not only, great for not only searching your Dark Magician spell and trap support, if it's the first 3 cards. Also, you get to know what the next 3 cards are for your next 3 turns, and you can put them back in whatever order you choose. So that means you can set up and prepare the next 3 turns if, of course, you don't shuffle the deck. You got your Magician Salvation, great archetypal field spell. When this card is activated, you can set one Eternal Soul directly from your deck. If you normal or special summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters, special summon one Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard with a different name than that monster. You can only use the effect of Magician Salvation once per turn. So, great for getting either Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl onto the field if you already have the other one on the field. So, next up is your Eye of Timaeus. This allows you to get to the Eye of Timaeus locked behind. So you got your Dragon Master Knight and your Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. And your Amulet Dragon. You know, stuff like that. Stuff that's locked behind Eye of Timaeus. Only run one of these. You're going to probably use Timaeus United Dragon more. Mostly because of the classic card rule searching. This is not searchable via your Magician's Rod or something like that. It is not searchable. Then you got a Dark Magic Twin Burst. This is the one where you take the Dark Magician Girl and add its attack points onto the Dark Magician. Moving on to traps, you got your 3 Eternal Souls. This is basically your Dark Magician version of True Light, which actually Eternal Soul came first, but I digress. So basically what this does is similar to True Light, except for Dark Magician. You can summon one Dark Magician from your hand or grave. Also, the second effect is you can either set a Dark Magic attack or 1,000 Knives from the deck to the field. I don't use the second effect because I don't use either one of those spells or traps, so for this particular deck, Eternal Soul is only really used for its summoning effect, which it has a great summoning effect. Of course, it has the drawback of it's destroyed. It destroys all monsters on my side of the field. Calculated risk, very good risk, because if this does stay on the field, it allows me unlimited access to any of my Dark Magicians that are either in my hand or in the graveyard. And then you got your classic combination of Magician's Combination and Magician's Navigation. Need no explaining there. And that is the archetypal spell and trap support for Dark Magician. Your fairly standard support, nothing too special. So next up will be the non-archetypal or just spellcaster stuff. Now this is excuse me. I'm so sorry. I'm recovering from a cold. So if my voice and my nose sounds a little bit ruffled, my humblest apologies. So this is the spellcaster stuff and generic stuff. This is the stuff that isn't specifically for Dark Magician, but helps spellcasters in general. So we have your Secret Villager of the Spellcaster. This right here is by far one of the best cards around. For the deck, it is very useful for Dark Magician because if I control a spellcaster, I can, and your opponent does not, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. If you control no spellcaster monsters, you can not activate spell cards. So for this deck, it's great because you're almost always going to have a spellcaster on the field. So which means it blocks your opponent from using their spell cards. Really great if you can't get to Magician's Salvation. Next, you got your Red Eyes Fusion. This should be no explanation needed. Use this to send one Dark Magician and your Red Eyes to the graveyard to summon, of course, your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon at full power with 2 pops because 2 normal monsters. It is the reason why there was a Red Eyes there was a Red Eyes package in this deck. Then you got your Terraforming, fairly standard card, uses to search for your field spells, so your Magician's Salvation and your Secret Village of the Spellcaster. Either one, of course, Terraforming. Call by the Grave, generic support, helps stop if you go up against a deck with hand traps, it's your anti-hand trap one. Then you got your Dark Magic Veil. Pay 200 life points and then special summon 2,000 life points, sorry. And then you can special summon one dark spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard. Generics, I mean, it's clear what they were going for. Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl. But, again, it doesn't specifically say that, so that's why it's in this pile. And then, of course, you got your Magical Eyes Fusion. You know, your fusion spell for your Quintet Magician, which I will go over in just a few minutes. With that said, that goes over all the non-archetypal spell and trap support for this deck. So, next up, we will go over the extra deck. The first up is the Dark Magician side of the extra deck. As you can probably imagine, this takes up most of the extra deck, with, of course, the last section being the non-Dark Magician extra deck monsters. So first up, you got the classic The Dark Magicians. This one is fairly simple. It requires a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl and one Spellcaster monster. Once per turn, if a spell or trap is activated, draw one card. When this card is destroyed, both Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl come from either the deck or graveyard. Really great to get both of them on the field and some draw power. So, really good card for prolonging the duel. It's definitely not your boss monster. So then you got the Ebon High and Ebon Illusion Magicians. Both really good cards. Ebon High, when this card has XZ materials, you can activate one quick play, spell card, or trap from your hand during your opponent's turn by detaching one XZ material from this card at activation. If the XZ monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, and if the XZ monster card you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you special summon one dark spellcaster type monster from your hand or deck. Then destroy one card on the field. So really good. Has a pop effect, and then of course really good protection. And you got Ebon Illusion Magician. This is your more Dark Magician centered one. So you can also rank this up by using a rank 6 spellcaster monster. So, yeah. There you go. So then you got your Dark Paladin. This one is just more in there for the Hex Seal Fusion. You know, it's just a backup option. You're not really going to use it. I don't really use this one much often, but I've used it once or twice against Kaiba character decks. So it's really good to have. Then you got your Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. This is one of your main itemized targets. Really good card. You know, once per turn quick effect, you can send one card from your hand to graveyard, then target one card on the field and destroy that target. Really good pop effect. Master of Chaos. Really good card. This is what you use Magical Eyes Fusion for. Quintet Magician. Really good nuke. And a really great overall boss monster, which is what you want to strive for. Then you got your Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. Really good card. And then, of course, Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic. And then, of course, you got your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This is the whole reason to have the Red Eyes package in the deck. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target this card with card effects during your main phase. Destroy one monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster's original attack. You can use this effect a number of times per turns of normal monsters used as the normal fusion for this card. Once per turn, when an effect or when card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can discard one card and negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. And if you do that, this card gains 1,000 attack. So, this is your one of the end goals. Get this on the field. It is a great stopper. Using both Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon, you can use the effect twice per turn. And then, of course, you got the negate. You got the discard, negate, and the extra attack points. Overall, a really great boss monster. It's no wonder why this was such a scary card when it first came out. And this is the entire reason why you run the Red Eyes Fusion and the Red Eyes Black Dragon. And with that, that is all of the Dark Magician archetypal extra deck monsters. So to finish off the video, we will go through the generic extra deck monsters I run in the deck. These are my generic level rank 7s and just other extra deck monsters that I run in the deck. So first up, number 7, Big Eye. Really good monster, rank 7, works really well with the deck, and just allows me to take control of one of my opponent's monsters. You know, it's a really good card. Then you got, of course, the other Red Eyes extra deck monster, Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This monster is awesome. Probably one of the best rank 7s I've ever seen. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has Xyz material. While this card has Xyz material, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves. Once per turn during either player's turn, detach one material from this card, then target one Red Eyes normal monster in your grave and special summon it. 9 times out of 10 times, the only extra, if this is later on in the duel, 9 times out of 10, the only Red Eyes monster in the graveyard you're going to have is Red Eyes Black Dragon from a Dragoon that was possibly destroyed. So you're very rarely ever going to use the second effect. The main reason is this first effect. Inflicting 500 points of damage for every card or effect activate is amazing. That's why this card is amazing in this deck, because it works so well with the deck, very easy to summon. It is non-archetypal to Red Eyes, so Dark Magician can easily summon it out if push comes to shove for it. One of the greatest backup plans I've ever added to the deck. And then, of course, the 3 Link monsters. Durek, the Dark Charmer Gloomy. Not really a thing needed. Not really anything to say. You know, take control of your dark monster from your opponent's graveyard. Then you got Salamangreat Azumir. This is your Linkuriboh replacement, basically. And then, of course, finally, Blackluster, just for a little bit of Yugi legacy support. Blackluster Soldier, the Soldier of Chaos. Probably one of the better backup boss monsters. Really simple to summon. Actually relatively simple to summon. And it has some really good effects. And there we have it. The Dark Magician deck. But like I said, by far, one of my favorite decks to play. I am a big anime guy. I love the original anime. Dark Kaiba and Yugi, some of my favorite anime characters of all time. And this deck, like I said, is the antithesis of my entire Yu-Gi-Oh journey. From starting the deck doesn't even resemble, honestly, I can't even say it started out as the Legendary Duelist Gold Sarcophagus box, because there's literally no cards in there left. This is a pure Dark Magician spam deck. It is the antithesis of if Yugi played Dark Magician in the modern era. So with that being said, make sure y'all like and subscribe. Oberon is dealing, like I said in the last video, dealing with some personal issues. But once he finishes that, we will open up the new channel, the Eye of Oberon. And once then, we will figure out how to do screen recording, and we will start doing Omega battles with the decks that him and I have both uploaded on our personal channels. As I said, we will also be posting our deck profiles on the new channel, just as a second place to come watch them, just so everything's in one location. The Yu-Gi-Oh channel, you know, the Eye of Oberon. So with all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Make sure y'all like and subscribe, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.